Welcome to Bible Size Chat. This is take 3. Jason, how are you?
Good.
Man, this is annoying.
I'm fine. But
I
it
blame
is
my
funny.
computer. I'm so sorry.
It's Apple. The QuickTime is weird.
Yeah, it makes it weird. Anyway, well, we're talking about different topics, one-offs here, and one of the ones that we want to talk about was Bible translation.
Yeah.
There's lots of Bible translations out there, obviously. A lot of people use different ones. We have the NIV, NAS, ESV, HCSB. I mean, so many of them, right?
Yeah.
And so just maybe give us a little bit of, maybe like a quick rundown. What translation do you use?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you use it?
Yep.
And then kind of a summary idea about how we should think about translations.
Yeah. Sure. So I use the NAS because we use the NAS here.
What is the NAS?
The New American Standard. Seminary, I use the NAS.
Yeah.
Previous church, ESV and NAS. So it's just kind of like where you are, you tend to use a translation. Also, it's a very good one for study, and because it's more literal.
Okay.
More word for word. This will go into translation philosophy, but if you've ever read the NAS's Old Testament parts of it, people say it's very wooden, hard to read. And it can be at times, just to be fair.
Yeah.
Unlike, let's say, the NIV, which is more smooth, readable, accessible in that
English
way.
language,
And the reason for that is the NIV is more a thought-for-thought translation. Okay. It's like a pure translation in that sense, where they're trying to actually bring it into the English vernacular. Like, what would this sound like in English? What are the closest phrasing of that term or that concept in English without making it too ordinary and everyday. NAS is kind of the opposite of that. It goes for more word for word translation so that it's following the sentence structure.
Gotcha.
Not all the time, obviously, because that would be very, very hard to read.
Yeah.
But trying to follow the sentence structure of the original Greek and Hebrew.
Gotcha.
So that's why sometimes it feels a little choppy.
Yeah, choppy. It's hard to read in English. 19 commas and a huge long sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just hard.
Yeah.
Harder. So really, you can use whatever translation you want.
Yeah.
The idea is again, some are more thought for thought.
Yeah.
And they will be more different from the original Greek and Hebrew. But that doesn't mean it's a bad translation necessarily.
Right.
Different, I don't mean as in like it's going against what the original is saying.
Right.
Okay. The others are more literal, trying to replicate the vocabulary and especially the sentence structure of the original.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's like NAS, ESV is more like that, the Revised Standard Version, New King James, whereas the more thought for thought would be like the NIV and the NLT, for example, just to pick two really famous ones.
What's the Holman?
I think Holman's like in the middle.
CSB?
Yeah, it's closer to ESV, but maybe more in the middle.
In the middle of those two. Okay. But any of those you would say are okay translations for someone to read out of.
Yeah. I mean, when you hear different people preach from different churches, you might hear famous people use the NIV.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it's not a heresy.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's not the non-inspired version.
No. You don't have to ring it's not a 4-alarm fire. It's fine.
So in seminary we used the NAS.
Yes, we did.
But it was interesting because the Hebrew profs in seminary, at least a couple of them that I had, said, "Hey, we don't actually like the NAS in the Old Testament as much. Not that they didn't like it, but they preferred a more dynamic equivalent, that sort of thought for thought translational pattern." Okay.
Yeah, we won't call out names, but they probably use the NIV then.
Yeah, they did.
That. Yeah. And I think that's fine actually, because sometimes when you're trying to do your devotions, it's not like you're studying.
Right.
And you could still study out of the NIV.
Yeah, totally.
Or any translation that's legitimate. I think, when you're like just reading the Bible and you're not getting into excuse me, like commentaries and study like that. Yeah. Like sometimes you just want to read.
Yeah, totally.
And that's where the NIV could be very helpful.
Yeah, it's helpful.
So
and it smooths out some of those things that would otherwise be broken.
Yeah. So
gotcha.
Yeah, but
okay, cool.
Choose whatever you want.
Yeah.
Probably, often like what the pastor preaches from is helpful to have in front of you.
It's just good to have in front of you. Yeah.
But it's not a biblical rule.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It is tricky. It's funny. Some of our kids have ESVs. Some of our kids have NASs, and they
try to do family worship.
Try to do family worship, or even when they're hearing sermons, they hear a different translation. They're like, oh, this is interesting. They can even hear it and see it.
It's hard. So,
it's challenging.
It also makes for good discussion because you'll see difference even in like certain things that are left out.
Yeah.
Like manuscript, differences changes, and what they use. So, and the wording and stuff, and so people are all like, you can get into good debates about like, why did they do that when the NAS does this, or
Totally.
So makes for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Quick last final question. Obviously, we what would you say about the LSB, the Legacy Standard Bible?
Is this a promo?
No promo whatsoever. We never promo.
To be fair, I haven't read much of it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a revision of the NAS, more or less.
Yeah.
So more literal. And I think they're trying to, like, I guess, refine parts of the NES where real literal people have been like, oh, I wish they would do this, and they do that, like certain participles, or with acrostics.
Yeah.
I don't think they make capital LORD into Yahweh every time. So, whatever you think about that.
Yeah, everyone has an opinion.
Yeah,
but that's more like, that would fall more in the New American Standard section.
Yeah, they're much more literal
word
than
for word.
Thought for thought.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so really, it's more of a personal preference. Anything inside of those categories, as long as you're reading something that is a translation, not sort of like a paraphrase.
Yeah. That would not be a translation at that point. That's just like interpretation purely.
Totally, which is unhelpful.
No. So you want to stay away from translations that are like too regional. Sometimes, especially in English, because maybe in other cultures, that some cultures don't even have a Bible. Yeah. Just to translate it is such a lion's task.
Oh, yeah.
But in English, there are so many resources. There's no reason for anybody to not at least pick up, even like, honestly, like, I'm okay with it. Pick up the NLT and just read it.
Yeah.
If that's all you have, or that's easier for you. Because, some people, English might be a second language.
Totally.
Or it's hard. They're just not good readers.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't give a paraphrase, but maybe give NIV, NLT translations like that. They're done by good and godly men. We might not use them, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Start there at least and get reading the Bible.
Yeah, totally.
Somewhere.
Get the word open in front of you. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway. Awesome. Hopefully that doesn't get me completely destroyed.
You'll be fired. Jason said to pick up the NLT. What?
And throw it. No. It's okay. Nobody listens to this anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's all right. No, I think that's helpful. I actually think that's super helpful advice. Yeah, it's so necessary because you got to begin to put the word into your heart. And it may not be the most literal, and we might like encourage that person to start moving a little bit further the other way, but whatever's going to make it easiest for them to begin to be in the text and to open their hearts and minds to the Word of God is where they need to be.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Super helpful. Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right.
You're welcome.
Well, hopefully we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.